Hey, this is Dog Will Fix It, and what we have today is an LG LCD 42-inch TV, and it's basically stuck in startup mode, as you can see. So it's been like that forever. I powered it down, I've removed the plug and all that jazz, and it's basically been stuck like that for a few days. It looks like the main board or the motherboard or whatever you want to call it has lost the plot. So we're going to try and do a replacement. We're going to strip this, strip that, and see if we can get this TV to run with a replacement board. But the first thing I'm going to say is that there's a few things to try before you do that. And one of the first things is to see if you can do a reset on the TV using the remote and the buttons on the right hand side. So on the right hand side you have power, you have OK button, you have the menu button on the right hand side of the TV, but you also have these buttons on the remote. So looking at this remote, and this is not the exact right remote, but it works. It's slightly older for an older TV, but it works fine with this. For example, you can, let's say, if you hold the OK button here and the OK button on the TV at the same time, it's supposed to go into reset mode, but in this case it doesn't. The other way that I've read you can try is by pressing the menu button simultaneously with the menu button on the TV. Now in that case it doesn't go into menu startup mode as well, but I think it does work for some TVs, but for this one it's a no-go. Okay, so the other thing I read is there's two like jumper buttons on the board, on the motherboard on the back, and if you press those, and I'm going to show you those in a minute, if you press those and they can reset the TV. I've tried that as well, it doesn't work. So my last resort is to replace the main board, and I'm going to run you through how to do that. It's pretty straightforward, so let's get it on. Okay, so basically the TV's upside down as you from this current position, and what you have is you have the main board here. So this is where all the computerized jazz goes, and then you have the power control and all the power stuff. So the main, you can see here, we get a plug that plugs into the power, the main socket, and that should be okay. So what we're going to try and do is replace this. But before I say that, there's basically about 8, well, maybe 15, 20 screws that go all the way around. You basically have to remove them all, and that exposes the back. So we think that this board is fried. So I'm going to show you how potentially we can replace it. I've got a replacement, and I'll talk about where I got the replacement and how to do the replacement. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so here's a close-up of the main board. Now, one of the other things that people said to try, other than the menu buttons and all that, was there's two jumper buttons. You can just see them right there, 1 and 2. So I tried pressing them while the TV was on, no luck. So I wouldn't recommend it. One of them just turns the TV off, and that was it basically. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a straight swap. So I've got a replacement board. So there's 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've taken 2 out already, so I'm just going to take the last 2. Just taking out the last 2. What we're going to do is we're going to disconnect this. You can just, if you flick this up like that, you can just pull this out. You can just pull these little jumper plugs out, no problems. And this is like coming from the power board. So you do that, and then you get it all out. So here you can see I basically removed it, and I've got a replacement. So I bought this off eBay, second hand. As you can see, I've got replacement second hand. It cost 40 quid. So I looked at a lot of the main boards cost around 20 to 40 quid, and this was from a TV that had a broken screen. So other than that, I was told it worked fine, but we're about to find out for real. So let's give it a shot. So we basically position it back like that. We'll pop the screws back on. So I'm only going to put 2 on just so I can connect it to see if this board actually works. So before I, put the whole thing back together, because there's a lot of screws. You're looking at like 30, 40 screws between this and the casing and everything. including the brackets to put it back up on the wall because I had to take it off the wall. So we're just going to put that down. Right, done. Reconnect this ribbon. You just need to slide it back in like this, and then that's it. Raise the bar, and then once it's in, you drop the bar. What we can do is put this in here. So these are for the speakers, I think. They look like they're going to the speakers. Okay, that's in. And then the power socket, or the power thing. There we go. So I think everything's in. So what we're going to do is we're going to fire this up and see what happens. I can see the camera's going in and out of focus, but hopefully, zoom out a bit. There you go. So it's all back. I'm going to put it on pause. There you go. Okay, so the TV's back up. So we're just going to power it on. Let's hope this works. Life is good. Please carry on. It's doing something. It's doing something. There you go. HDMI free. And we're back in business. So the replacement worked. It looks like it seems to be working. Once I screw it, put it back together, I'll plug the aerials and that back in. But it looks good because it was never even getting to this point. It was always stuck on the welcome screen for LG. So that's done. Now it's a matter of putting all the screws back. So all the screws on the board, main board, another two basically, and then all the ones around the edges, and you should be back in business. So there you go. Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe and like the channel, and keep watching all the messages and stuff, and we'll try and reply if you get stuck. Peace out.